Greetings, brethren of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. This is Cry Aloud Messengers. I'm your presenter, Brother Stanley Zombe. Today, our presentation is on the Exodus of today. Mixed multitude, a hindrance and a snare in the SDA Church. We shall see that this mixed multitude is the one that is bringing continual trouble in the Church of God today. Mixed multitude went up also with them. We read from the book of Exodus chapter 12 verse 37 to 38. It reads, "And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men, besides children. And a mixed multitude went up with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle." We read from 1 Corinthians 10, verse 1 to 5. It reads, "Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the Red Sea, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and all did eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ. But with many of them God was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness." So as the children of Israel came out from Egypt to the promised land, we see here a mixed multitude went up also with them. They followed the children of Israel. And on Corinthians, the Bible is telling us that we need not be ignorant. We need not forget this account of the children of Israel as they moved out from Egypt to the promised land. The Bible records that, "But with many of them God was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness." They died in the wilderness because of disobedience to God, brethren. May these mistakes of the Israel of old be our stepping stones, brothers and sisters, so that we may not repeat how they sinned against God. May we benefit from this history, from this account. Origin of the mixed multitude. We read from the Spirit of Prophecy, volume 1, page 243. It reads, "It was the mixed multitude who came from Egypt with the Israelites that were the principal movers in this dreadful departure from God. They were called a mixed multitude because the Hebrews had intermarried with the Egyptians." Brothers and sisters, here we see the Israel of old forgetting the instructions of God. God has always warned his children against intermarriages with the heathen, with the Egyptians, with the people who are not the worshippers of the true God. The same thing today is happening in the SDA Church. We are having intermarriages with the people outside our faith, which is an abomination in the sight of God. And these people caused a problem. The seed of this intermarriage caused a problem in the camp of the Israelites. May we gain a lesson here, brothers and sisters. A hindrance and a snare to Israel. We read from Patriarchs and Prophets, page 281. It reads, "And they went out about 600,000 on foot that were men, besides children. And a mixed multitude went up also with them. In this multitude were not only those who were actuated by faith in the God of Israel, but also a far greater number who desired only to escape from the plagues, or who followed in the work of the moving multitude merely from excitement and curiosity. This class were ever a hindrance and a snare. We read from the same book, page 408. It reads, the mixed multitude that came up with the Israelites from Egypt were a source of continual temptation and trouble. They professed to have renounced idolatry and to worship the true God, but their early education and training had molded their habits and character. They were more or less corrupted with idolatry, with irreverence for God. They were the oftenest the ones to stir up strife, and were the first to complain, and they leavened the camp with the idolatrous practices and their murmurings against God. So, brothers and sisters, we see that this mixed multitude moved out of Egypt not because they had faith in God, but they desired to escape from the plagues, and they just followed merely from excitement and curiosity. They were not a converted people. This class were ever a hindrance and a snare. They were a source of continually temptation and trouble. They were not converted. They did not renounce idolatry, and they claimed to worship our true God. They were not trained in their childhood. Brothers and sisters, let us learn as parents of today to train and educate our children in the true worship of God and in the reverence of God. This mixed multitude, they were the first to complain. They leavened the camp with their idolatrous practices and their murmurings. And we see that they even violation of the Sabbath, fornication came inside the camp of God as a result of this mixed multitude. The same troubles that are happening in the church of God today are caused by this mixed multitude that is not converted to the worship of our God. Finding fault with the prophet of God. We read from Patriarchs and Prophets, page 377. It reads, after 3 days' journey, open complaints were heard. These originated with the mixed multitude, many of whom were not fully united with Israel and were continually watching for some cause of censure. The complainers were not pleased with the direction of the march, and they were continually finding fault with the way in which Moses was leading them, though they well knew that he, as well as they, was following the guiding cloud. Dissatisfaction is contagious, and it soon spread in the encampment. Again, they began to clamor for the flesh to eat, though abundantly supplied with manna, they were not satisfied. And from the same book, page 315, we read, the mixed multitude had been the first to indulge murmuring and impatient. They were the leaders in apostasy that followed. So, brothers and sisters, we see that these complainers, these mixed multitude. They started to find fault with the way in which Moses, who was the prophet of God, was leading them. And the same thing is happening today in the church of God. This mixed multitude is complaining against the spirit of prophecy, is complaining against Ellen G. White, the prophetess of God, who is leading the church of God to the promised land. This mixed multitude has got no regard for the health reform message. They want to eat as they please. They do not care, brothers and sisters. They do not regard the warnings and the entreaties given in the spirit of our God. Even if there is good food in front of them, they will choose the flesh pots of Egypt. Brothers and sisters, let us wake up. Which side are you on? Are you part of the true seed of God, which is the Israel of today, or you are part of this mixed multitude, the people who have got no regard for the word of God? These people, the mixed multitude, were the leaders in apostasy. The sad thing that even today, this mixed multitude is part of our leading brethren who are bringing confusion in the Church of God with the LGBTQ plus movement and their teachings, the women ordinations that are happening in the church, the politicians that are in the church, not because they are there to worship God, but they want to further their campaigns in the Church of God so that they garner more votes, so that they secure they secure even the blessings of the people of God. These singing groups today who are bringing Pentecostalism in the Church of God. Brother, it is a high time that we need to awake. This mixed multitude reject the health reform message. They reject the dress reform message. They reject the present truth message. Brother, it is a high time to awake from sleep. Stubborn in their rebellion. We read from the Spirit of Prophecy, volume 1, page 250. It reads, Moses requested all who had been free from this great sin of idolatry to come and stand by him at his right hand. Also, those who had joined the rebellious in the worshipping this idol, but who had repented of their sin in this quick departing from God, to stand at his left hand. There was quite a large company, most of the mixed multitude who instigated the making of the calf, who were stubborn in their rebellion and who would not stand with Moses either at his right hand or at his left. These class of people, brother, and even today in the Church of God, they reject both the teachings of the Bible and the teachings of the SOP. You can't distinguish what manner, what kind of people are they. What brings the mixed multitude today in the Church of God, that is the Seventh-day Adventist Church? We read from the Great Controversy, page 384. It reads, what was the origin of the great apostasy? How did the church first depart from the simplicity of the gospel? By conforming to the practices of paganism to facilitate the acceptance of Christianity by the heathen. The Apostle Paul declared, even in his day, the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 7. During the lives of the apostles, the church remained comparatively pure, but towards the later end of the second century, most of the churches assumed a new form. The first simplicity disappeared and insensible. As the old disciples retired to their graves, their children, along with the new converts, came forward and new modeled the cause. To secure the converts, the exalted standard of the Christian faith was lowered. As a result, a pagan flood flowing into the church carried with it its customs, its practices, and idols. As the Christian religion secured the favor and support of secular rulers, it was nominally accepted by multitudes, but while in appearance Christians, many remained in substance pagan, especially worshipping in secret their idols. This is what is happening today in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, the origin of the great apostasy in lowering the standard of Christianity. This has caused a flood to flow into the Church of God, carrying itself with it the forms of paganism, the practices of paganism and idols into the Church of God, the observance of Christmas, the observance of Easter. We've already named women ordination. All these abominations are caused by our leaders lowering the standard of Christianity so that they may secure a large following, secure a large number into the church, so that they may obtain tithes, brothers and sisters, while they are lowering the standard of Christianity. Brothers and sisters, let us wake up. Let us wake up. There is no more time. How God will save his church from these people who are lowering the standard of Christianity and this a mixed multitude in the Church of God. We see from Numbers 16, verse 32 to 33. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up and their houses and all the men that appertained unto Korah and all their goods. They and all that pertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. We read from Revelation 12, verse 15 to 16. It reads, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. We also read from Ezekiel 9, verses 4 to 6. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So, brothers and sisters, we see God doing the same thing in the Old Testament, saving his church, saving his people from these complainers, from these Dathan and his friends who rose up against Moses, the prophet of God. The earth opened up and swallowed them up. And today, this is what God will do, as it is written in Revelation chapter 12. The earth helped the woman, and the earth opened up and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. So the earth is going to open up to swallow this flood, this mixed multitude that came out of the mouth of the devil, brothers and sisters. And this, God will do it through the purification of the church, as it is written in Ezekiel chapter 9, where God commands his people to sigh for the abominations that are being done in the SDA church. These abominations of the LGBTQ plus women ordination, the politician, these singing groups, and this Pentecostalism preaching, which is now coming in our churches through our pastors and our elders. God is saying we need to sigh and cry for all these abominations. Those who reject the spirit of prophecy, those who reject the health, they will not receive the seal of the living God, but they will perish at the purification of the church, as God brings about a pure church that will take this gospel during the time of the loud cry. This we'll read from the Review and Herald, May 21, 1901. It reads, "Only when the church is composed of pure, unselfish members can it fulfill God's purpose. Too much hasty work is done in adding names to the church roll. Serious defects are seen in the characters of some who join the church. Those who admit them say, we will first get them into the church and then reform them. But this is a mistake. The very first work to be done is the work of reform. Pray with them, talk with them, but do not allow them to unite with God's people in church relationship until they give decided evidence that the Spirit of God is working on their hearts. Many of those whose names are registered on the church books are not Christians. They are actually this mixed multitude. They are the ones who are causing trouble in the church of God. It is only when the church of God is composed of pure, unselfish members can it fulfill God's purpose. This God's purpose is to take this gospel of the kingdom to all the four corners of the earth, as it is written in Matthew chapter 28. Conclusion of the matter. The mixed multitude that came up with the Israelites from Egypt were a source of continual temptation and trouble. This class were ever a hindrance and a snare. The mixed multitude had been the first to indulge murmurings and impatience, and they were leaders in apostasy. As the Christian religion secured the favor and support of the secular rulers, it was nominally accepted by multitude, but while in appearance Christians, many remained in substance pagan, especially worshipping in secret their idols. Ezekiel 9, the purification of the church is to set the church of God free from the mixed multitude. For more information, contact the admins at Cry Aloud Messengers, or you can call us or WhatsApp us. The numbers are shown on the screen, or you can email us at cryaloudmessengers@gmail.com. May God